taking a peek at the infotainment screen inside of the Ford SuperDuty. This is the only infotainment system you're going to find inside of the truck, and it is feature-packed. So let's dive in. First thing, along the top left-hand side, you've got your current time. You can tap that in order to be able to adjust your clock settings if you'd like to. Along the top right side, you've got your current connection level, and then your current outside temperature. You've got a series of different buttons along the bottom that are all locked into place. So you've got your audio, phone, navigation. You can set a custom button, so you've got any of these options to choose between. So let's just say we did it for vehicle settings. It's now a vehicle settings screen. So if we go across, we can then tap that button, or you could edit it out if you wanted it to be a different screen. So if you wanted a hot button push to get to your audio sources, you can do that. So you've got the flexibility to customize what this button does. There's a basic app screen that's available, a series of settings, and then a boatload of features, along with this little tray along the outside. So you could move up and down this way in order to be able to move between different options. If you tap this icon, that's going to bring it into a different option where you can kind of move up and down this way. And then some of these you'd be able to tap through in order to bring up an additional screen. And then other ones, so if we look at, let's say, navigation as an example, you could tap navigation for it to slide across into your navigation menu. But let's start off on the audio side of things. So with your sources, you've got AM, FM, SiriusXM, and Bluetooth. If you had a USB stick with MP3s that was plugged in, that would show up as an available option, but you've got all of your different sources. So if we hop back into FM, you can do a direct tune this way. So if you wanted to tune out, you could do that. Straightforward. In order to save in presets, you can see we've got a few preset pages there. You can't delete these, but you can overwrite them. So if you wanted to, you just push and hold in order to save a preset in. You could change stations this way. You can go plus or minus to fine tune, or you can hit the voice command prompt on the steering wheel. 102.1 FM.
Tuning to FM 102.1.
So you can also change stations that way. That's probably my favorite way to do it, but you've got different options that are available if you'd like to, and that's the same for SiriusXM too. You can hit your sound settings there to get to a series of different options that are available. If we go into SiriusXM for a second, that gives you a bunch of different options. So you can pause up the station if you'd like to. You could hit this icon. So let's say if you're a fan of either the song or the artist. So if you're a big fan of Zach Top or Use Me, you can hit this button in order to get a notification for the artist or for the song. So if that song or that artist are playing on any SiriusXM station, you'd get a notification letting you know. You can tap here in order to get to all of your different subscreens. So you can see here, different preset pages if you wanted to adjust that out. 1 at a minimum, 6 at a maximum. So if let's go 3 for a second here, and back, you can see you've now got 3 individual preset rows. Hopping back inside, you've got your SiriusXM information. There's nothing overly exciting there. You can browse, so all of your different category views. And then you can start over or hit your sound settings there, where you can adjust out your treble, mid-range, and bass. What I'd recommend here is play one of your favorite songs and then adjust these out until it sounds perfect for you. So what I've typically found is that treble up a point or two with bass cranked a bit sounds good to me. But like I said, play your favorite song, adjust this out until it sounds great for you. You can adjust the balance and fade. So do you want it driver focused, rear focused, front focused, recentered back to the middle again? There's an available sound mode, so do you want it to be stereo versus surround instead? And then the speed compensated volume. So as you go faster or slower, it can automatically increase or decrease the volume. But that's using media inside of the ride. Next up, you've got your phone. So let's go ahead and start off on the iPhone side of things. You're just going to tap phone.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
You're just waiting for F250 to show up. There we go, F250.
Confirm that the pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Pins match up. Now, do you want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? This is not my car, so I'm going to say no to that one.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
So the phone is connected over Bluetooth. I always recommend keeping 911 Assist on because if you're in a major accident, the vehicle will automatically dial 911 for you. And then just tap finish there. And there we go. So the phone also supports Apple CarPlay, and it is wireless Apple CarPlay available inside of this ride. So you could go wired if you wanted to. You're just going to use a USB cable. So USB Type-C and plug yourself in. But let's go ahead and use wireless CarPlay. Just need to enable it there. Look at that. And we are fully connected. So you've got your CarPlay screen, and then you've got this little split screen too. So if you wanted to still adjust it that way, you could. But you see on the top left-hand side of CarPlay, there's these arrows. You can tap that. That goes full screen CarPlay. Love it. You can shrink it down if you wanted that split screen instead, but you've got that option. You've got your current time, connection, and battery levels. These are the apps that were open last. So this is going to be for your maps, your audio, and then a miscellaneous application. You can hit here in order to go to this little split screen. Back to your home screen. You can swipe across to get to your icon view. Now, this home screen in CarPlay is kind of customizable. So you're always going to have your map there that was open last, and then the search and audio boxes are always going to be there as a default. If you've got a calendar notification coming up today that hasn't passed, that would show up. But if you don't have any calendar notifications today, the search and the audio box would be stretched across the top there. But outside of that, that screen can't be customized. You've got Apple Maps, Google Maps, and Waze that are available. And you do, unfortunately, on the Apple CarPlay side of things, don't have pinch to zoom capabilities. So you could zoom in and out this way. One thing that I love about Waze is that as you drive, people are good at marking off construction. If there are speed traps and things like that, people are really good at giving others a heads up, and you can mark things off. So if you notice that there's a speed trap, crashes, hazards, you can let other drivers know. CarPlay unfortunately does not have the flexibility of playing video, so that's not available as an option, but you've got all sorts of music apps. So YouTube Music, Hoopla is a library app, Live One's a radio app. You can listen to podcasts if you'd like to, all through the screen. Tapping back to get back to this main screen. And on the steering wheel, there's a voice command prompt. So if you tap that, that would bring up the command prompt for the vehicle. But if you do a long button push and hold, that is going to bring up your Siri assistant. So short button push is the one for the vehicle, long button push is for your phone. And then you can customize the icons. So if you tap settings, you've got driving focused available, but you can also change out the wallpaper. So if there's a look that works better for you, like let's say I love blue, so if you're a bigger fan of that, you could change it out instead. All sorts of different apps that are available, and you can actually customize the app icon tray there too. So on your phone, what you're gonna do is go into your settings, and then general, and then CarPlay. You're going to find your vehicle, you can forget it, customize, or turn CarPlay off. But let's say if you can't even get to this screen because CarPlay is giving you issues, check down in the description of this video. I've put together some comprehensive walkthroughs explaining how you can fix CarPlay and some common CarPlay issues. But what we want to do is tap Customize. You can see there all of your icons. So if you want your audiobooks along the top and another map application along the top, you can adjust it. Anything with a minus next to it, you can remove it if you'd like to. Swiping across, so if you've played around with the layout too much, you can adjust it. You can add other apps back in. But if you don't like the layout, what you've done, along the top right side of the phone, you can hit reset, and that's just going to bring you back to this basic default layout screen. So relatively straightforward there. Now, if you hop back home, you can hop back into CarPlay this way. Tapping that icon doesn't do anything else. So if we hit settings for a second, go into phone list, you can also tap phone list along the top right side, but that brings you here, and we're connected to CarPlay. You can disconnect from CarPlay that way if you'd like to, so you can be hooked up to either or. CarPlay gives you all of these options, but if you're not connected to CarPlay, you wouldn't be able to use maps through your phone, so that's one thing to consider. But we're connected back over just Bluetooth. Let's say you set up Apple devices inside of the Ford SuperDuty. Setting up Android devices is the exact same process. So if you weren't on the screen, if you didn't have a phone connected, you could tap there. Just hitting settings, phone list would bring you back up to this screen. And let's just go ahead.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
Okay, and we're just waiting for F250 to show up. There we go.
Confirm that the pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Pins match up, and we're going ahead. So you can stop there, so you're connected over Bluetooth.
Please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
So it's asking, do I want to allow access to contacts and messages? This is not my car, so I'm saying no to that one. And you can stop there, so you're connected over Bluetooth, but you'd also have the flexibility of going wireless Android Auto. Same thing, it's backwards compatible, so you could use USB, but let's connect wirelessly. Look at that. We are fully connected. Android Auto, you can also go full screen. So along the bottom there, you can see the Android Auto icon. If you tap the little arrows, that's going to let you go full screen. So you can go full versus split screen Android Auto, but nice setup there. Now, on Android Auto, you've got Google Maps available. You can tap that to go full screen. So if you hit here, you're going to be in this little split screen. You want to go full screen, Google Maps, you can. Full pinch to zoom capabilities, which is one thing that I absolutely love about Android Auto. Hitting there, again, you get into that split screen with all of your different icons along the side. There's your voice assistant there, so you can tap that button to get the assistant for your phone, or do a long button push and hold if you wanted to get to your assistant that way. Now, if you tap this button again, we've got a series of different icons. If Waze is installed on your device, but it's not showing up there, check down in the description of this video for a little walkthrough on how you can add Waze into your Android phone. And you've got the flexibility of customizing the layout here a tiny little bit. On your device, if you search for Android Auto, you're going to tap on Android Auto settings. That'll bring you up to this screen with a bunch of different options. You can then tap Customize Launcher, which would give you the option of adjusting the layout. So if you wanted Waze on the top, if you wanted Ford Sync up that way too, you can adjust it out. Anything with a check mark next to it, you can deselect it to remove it, but it's not dynamic the same way it was on the iPhone side. So in order for these changes to come into effect, tap on your phone list, you're going to disconnect from Android Auto, you're going to then reconnect to Android Auto. There we go, and back in, and the changes that we've made have now come into effect. If you tap back on your phone list again, you're back to this page. You could disconnect from Android Auto. So what we're doing is reconnecting for Bluetooth. But let's say if you have two phones connected, you wanted one phone connected for phone calls, but another phone connected for media, you could do that. So you can do a mix and match. So it's either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, not both, but you can do a mix and match of the other four if you'd like. You could tap phone settings in order to look at some options. So if you wanted to manage contacts, etc., you could. Tapping back lets you then delete the devices if you'd like. So delete, yes, and let's do the same here. So delete and yes, and we deleted both phones from the vehicle. And it's that easy setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the SuperDuty. And from there, so that's the phone done. Now, navigation, I would love to be able to show you, but the downside to navigation in recent Ford vehicles is that it's got what's known as connected navigation. So you need to set up the Ford Pass app on your phone and actually subscribe to a plan in order for navigation to work. But if we hit here, you can see there, requires activation, so you can't even look through anything. What this means is that if you don't have an active data plan or an active subscription through Ford Pass, it's a dead moving map. So it just follows you around as you drive, but you can't input any end destinations. So your best bet, honestly, would just be to use Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze through iPhones, or Google Maps and Waze through Android devices that way, unless you wanted to pay for the navigation system directly through Ford. But if you want to walk through and actually setting up the Ford Pass app on your phone, whether that's Android or iPhones, check down in the description of this video. Now, hitting here brings you up to a series of settings because we saw there, we customized this button. We'll get to that one last. You've got your app screen for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, or other way, and then YouTube support too. Same idea, you do need to have an active data plan in order for YouTube to work, but with that, that would also give you navigation. You've got a boatload of settings too. So this button is dynamic. So it depends on whether you're on SiriusXM or if you're on AM, FM, whatever the case may be. But if you tap that button, you'd be able to toggle on HD radio. The benefit there is that the stations would be streamed digitally, so you'd get clearer audio from more stations. Radio text, and then your available preset pages where you can go up to 6 individual pages. You can add in a phone, there's navigation, your sound settings, which we've already seen. There are some vehicle settings, so you can have the vehicle idle for 30 minutes max. If that's toggled off, the vehicle would just continue to idle. So if we toggle that one off, it's just going to keep on idling until you actually turn the vehicle off. You can get a detection, so if you've left the vehicle with your fob. Rear occupant alert, if you open up the back doors and then go to turn the truck off, you'll get a notification letting you know to check the back seats. You can toggle that one off completely if you'd like to. Or you saw there, you can also have it with a notification that a child seat has been installed. See, there's remote start, so that's remote starting through your key fob. You can remote start through the Ford Pass app, but through your key fob, you can toggle the whole system off. You can also have it set for auto climate control, so the vehicle determines what the climate is. If you've got heated first row seats, it could automatically turn them on. And then how long do you want that remote start to last? So 5, 10, or 15 minutes. You've got some options for windows, so you can actually use the key fob to roll the windows down. Let's hop outside and I'll show you how a few of these things work. To remote start, push the lock button and then that circle button twice. Within a few seconds, you're going to go lock, 1, 2, in order to start up. To cancel the remote start, push that circle button there again once. I love that you've got those power folding side view mirrors. And then there's one other neat key fob trick that you can do. If you double push the unlock button and then hold, watch this. You're going to go 1, 2, and hold. Down those windows go. You can lock it to pause it part way. And if you double push again, so 1, 2, and hold, it's going to continue the cycle. That's pretty cool. I wish that it was window up on top of that, but at least we've got the window down option. For wipers, you've got courtesy wipe. So if you've got your windshield wipers going, and then at the end of the wiper cycle, it's going to go one more time to get rid of any excess liquid. Lighting is available there. Auto high beam is a useful one to turn on. And the reason why is because, so if we look down by your left knee, you've got a series of different light options. So your auto mode. What the auto mode means is that if the vehicle recognizes that high beams are needed, it's going to automatically turn them on. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off again. But if you want to permanently lock your high beams out, you're just going to drop into the bottom headlamp mode, and that's going to move you into the headlamp mode there. You could push away to keep your high beams on, pull towards you in order to be able to turn them off. So pretty straightforward there. But I always recommend just keeping the auto high beams on. You can toggle your welcome lighting on, so as you walk up to the vehicle, you'd see some lighting on the outside. Auto lamp delay, so when you go to lock the truck, do the lamps just turn off, or do they stay on for up to 2 minutes? There's zone lighting available inside of the truck on top of that, so do you want to have your lamps going, yay, nay? And then options for your mirrors, so auto fold. So if your truck has power folding side view mirrors, when you go to lock the truck, it can automatically fold the mirrors in for you. You've got your clock, so you can either tap on the clock there to adjust it or come here. Do you prefer that military time instead, so 12 versus 24-hour mode? Auto time update is also useful unless you live somewhere where you straddle a time zone and it's constantly flipping you from one time zone to the other. So you can toggle that on or off if you'd like. General settings with a boatload of other options, so you can change it out to either English, Spanish, or French. And these ones are region specific. You can be in either Celsius or Fahrenheit for your temperature. The measurement units are also useful. So do you want to be in kilometers or miles? So if you're going cross-border, you'd be able to change that information out. So you can see it adjusting out on the bottom of the cluster screen there. Very useful. Back again, you've got your tire pressure. Do you want to be in PSI, KPA, or bar? The touchscreen beep that we're getting, if that drives you nuts, you can toggle it off. And you can also do a reset. So there's this full factory reset that's available. So if you wanted to, you could do a full factory reset, which is going to wipe the screen and get rid of everything. There's also the Ford Pass reset. So if your Ford Pass app on your phone is giving you problems, you can do a reset that way. There's also a way to do a soft reboot, which I'll show you towards the end of the video. But let's hop back here and back. That's the basics of your general. Next up is going to be for the display. So as big, as bright as this display is, if you find it too distracting, you can toggle it off. Button press to bring it back to life, or you can go to a calming screen, which is just going to be your date and time. Back again. You can adjust the brightness. So do you want it to be brighter, darker, etc.? And then there are modes. So as of right now, we're in the auto mode, which means it's technically the daytime because of how bright it is outside. But if you tap the night mode, it brings you into this nice blue view. So you can lock it out to either or just have it in the auto, which means that depending on how bright it is outside, it's going to automatically turn it into the day or the night mode. You've got some connectivity options, nothing exciting there unless you're looking at Bluetooth and change vehicle name. So if you don't want it to be F250, if you want it to be Bob's Ride, Sally's Ride, you can do that. And you can toggle Bluetooth off completely so you just couldn't connect your phone. So you can connect to a Wi-Fi network at home. There's connected vehicle features, a lot of options there. You could toggle all of these settings off. So if you didn't want to share information with Ford, you could do that. There's a vehicle hotspot that's available. So you do need an active plan in order for this to work. So rather than using the data on your phone, you'd be using data through the screen. Let's see, software updates. One of the things that I'd recommend here is keep automatic updates turned on, but you want your schedule to be some time when you're not using the truck and you know it might be sitting for 4, 6, 8 hours, whatever the case may be. And the reason why is because it might take that long for these updates to happen. So it might take 2, 3, 4 hours to download the update and a few hours to actually install it. So set a schedule there, again, ideally when the truck is going to be stationary. Your assistant's there too. And the assistant has so many options. So if you hit the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, you'd be able to do things like change stations. You could navigate using your voice and things like that, but you could have it listen for a wake word. So rather than hitting that command prompt, you could now say, okay, Ford. and that's going to bring up that command list. So whether or not that command list shows up is a matter of preference. I recommend being in the advanced mode, and the reason why. Okay, Ford, 94.9 FM. When you do things, it just does it. So it doesn't give you notification that it's doing it. So keep that advanced mode on. But what I'd also recommend is go to your command help. So when you first get the vehicle, you could then see everything that you can do. So if you wanted to see what you could do for your apps, for media, for radio, things like that, like there are so many things that you can do. So what I'd recommend is when you get your truck, go through the command list because you do have the flexibility of adjusting a number of things out just using your voice. 911 assist is available, so with a phone actively connected, if you're in a major accident, it can dial 911 for you. And then there's valet mode. So valet mode essentially locks the screen out. So if we enter a nice difficult password, don't use 000, use something hard. But the reason why we want to do that is now you can't look through any element of the screen until you re-enter that password. And that unlocks the screen for us. Last one is going to be features, and there are so many options here too. You've got driver assistance with a series of options. So pre-collision assist, if you're going to be in an accident, it can automatically brake for you. You can toggle these things off. Useful if you're going to be going off-road. Rear camera delay, if you have your rear camera going and then you start to drive, it'll keep the rear camera on for a few seconds at low speed. Your blind spot system is also there. So if somebody enters the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, you'll see there, it's going to highlight on either side in order to let you know that somebody's entered that blind spot. You can have your trailer view. There are your parking sensors too. So if you've got the forward reverse parking sensors, those would show up and you can toggle them off. Cross traffic alert, as you go to back up, if there's a car coming perpendicular, so from the left or the right side, it can let you know of a potential collision. And then with brake assist, as you're backing up, if there's an obstacle behind you, it can automatically brake for you. So there are a lot of useful settings, but it's nice that you can toggle all of these things off if you wanted to. Pro Power Onboard is available too, so you'd be able to toggle it off completely. You can go into generator mode too, so as long as you've got enough fuel or diesel, gas, whatever the case may be, you can enter a generator mode. So what it's going to do is just keep those power plugs on with the rest of the truck essentially off. Zone lighting, if you're going to be using the truck later on at night, it's going to turn on all of the lights around the truck so you can go side view, just the back or just the front of the vehicle. You've got a series of towing options too. And one of the things that I like about the Ford world is that they go through these useful connection checklists. So if you've never connected a trailer before, it's really good at going through and giving you all of the options and everything that you need to do to set yourself up properly. So for conventional gooseneck or fifth wheel towing. There's trailer sway control and a number of other things. So if the vehicle recognizes that trailer sway is happening, it's going to apply engine braking to get that sway under control. And then there's a fully digital owner's manual. So if this video didn't help out, or if you're getting weird messages inside of the cluster screen, not sure what things mean, that would be able to help you out. So there's a visual search that's available. You can do a basic search if you wanted to know when you need to change your oil, your DEF fluid, things like that. You can watch different videos, etc. Like I said, it's a feature packed screen with a number of different options that are available. Then if you look under the screen, you've got your integrated brake controller. Do you want to be in 2 high, 4 high, 4 low? And then you've also got your rear locker. A series of selectable drive modes with my favorite being, hold on, look at this, the off-road mode. So it's going to automatically shift you into 4 high, but look at that screen. I love that in comparison. So you can change between all of your available modes that way. You've got your volume rocker. So this one here will turn audio off. You can adjust audio this way. You can also adjust it on the steering wheel there if you'd like to. From there, you can do a button push in order to get to your available camera setup. So you can see what's going on all the way around you. There's an available hitch view if you wanted a side-by-side view, etc. A lot of options. It's good. And then you could change between songs or stations, play pause. You've got a tuning rocker, all of your climate control settings, heated first row seats. There is the option for ventilated first row in some trim levels of the ride, so those buttons would be there. And then if the screen's ever giving you problems, like let's say Apple CarPlay's not working, Android Auto's not working, or it's just bugging out, you could also do a soft screen reboot. In order to do it, you're going to push and hold the volume button and the right seek button down the screen for a few seconds. So you're just going to push and hold those buttons, wait a few seconds, And you can see there, the screen is now blanked. So what it's done, it's essentially the same thing as restarting your phone. So it's essentially clearing the cache. So that should get rid of the majority of issues that you're having. So like I said, if Android Auto isn't working, Apple CarPlay is not working, you're getting radio issues, navigation issues, things like that, you can do a full factory reset, which is the last thing that you want to do because that's going to wipe everything off of the screen. So your factory resets there are available. But doing that soft reboot should get rid of the majority of issues that you're facing. I know that's a lot of information, but that's everything that you need to know about the infotainment system inside of the Ford SuperDuty.